This is Joshua Silverman with Constant Calibrating, chatting with Caleb Denecour of Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth.
How's it going,
Caleb?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
Doing quite well. So, what is RTX like for you? Because you primarily are the Achievement Hunter community manager, but what's an RTX experience like in the nuttiest nutshell you can do?
I mean, it changes from year to year for me.
Okay.
It really can depend. I mean, like the first RTX, the one back in the grass, was a lot of labor.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of the giant tent outside.
Oh, yeah.
And all those tables.
Mm-hmm.
I set those up with Aaron Zek. It was me and Aaron Zek.
Okay.
We set up all of those tables.
Wow.
So that was a very labor-intensive year for me.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, as time goes on, we have more and more help from Guardians, which is wonderful. So I've had a lot less labor to do. This year for me, I helped out a little bit setting up the store. But from this point on, it's just panels, hanging around the convention floor, saying hi to people, and kind of relaxing. So a lot of just social interaction.
So the labor-intensive aspect obviously has gone down a bit since we've now gotten into the more, not outside version of RTX.
Yeah, the inside version.
The inside version.
Air conditioning makes the world a better place.
Much better place. Yeah. So this year you were mentioning before we started that the new panel, they're doing the behind-the-scenes panel.
Yep.
So what's the deal with that? Like, how is that? What should we expect from that for people who are watching this?
You know, that's an excellent question, because I actually have no idea what's going to happen on that panel.
You don't?
My assumption is that we'll probably sit down and talk a little bit about what we all do, because I don't think a lot of people realize what all of us do. I don't think most people don't even realize that I'm a community manager. A lot of people don't realize that Caden edits most of our videos. People don't realize, like, Lindsay's all over the place.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it will be just kind of explaining what we do, what our day-to-day is like, and then just kind of opening up to questions and what people want to know about how we do what we do.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So another thing you do is, as you mentioned, the community management stuff. What goes into being the Achievement Hunter community manager? Because again, you said a lot of people don't realize this is something you do necessarily, which I find kind of surprising. But at the same time,
yeah. So the thing about being a community manager is that, in general, from company to company, it's drastically different, even within companies. Like Barbara and I's day-to-day is drastically different, and she community manages for the rest of the company while I cover Achievement Hunter. And for me, it's a lot of social interaction via just social media, like posting random tweets. Like sometimes it's insulting people. It comes with my job. Like if I see somebody just making kind of like a snide remark, I'll reply with a snide remark.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just like, my goal every day is just to capture the personality of Achievement Hunter via social media, however I can.
You have to speak to the voice of Achievement Hunter, because as you said, different companies, different things, but Achievement Hunter is that more snarky, kind of mocks their fans a little bit, never truly disrespectful, but still, yeah, well, a fan's a jackass. You kind of like throw something back
exactly.
at them a little bit.
And it's like, it's one of those things too. Like the other night before RTX, I think it was Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Got home late and checked Twitter, and I saw that Rooster Teeth had tweeted something like really kind of professional to promote the fact that we have a new channel. And I mean, how I view it is like Rooster Teeth is our parent. Like Rooster Teeth is mom/dad, and they're being professional. They're being really courteous. So I love to be really sassy with Rooster Teeth, the Twitter account. So like, it's essentially me responding to Barbara, but I think it's really fun to like give snide remarks and kind of sass. And now that we have Funhouse, who's a very similar kind of division to Achievement Hunter in the sense that they do Let's Plays and video game content, and kind of have just like a group of people who like to hang out, basically a group of people hanging out making content.
Yeah.
And so they had made a campaign to counter our subscriber campaign, like as a kind of a fun parody thing. So as soon as I saw RT's post, my first thought was, how can I taunt Funhouse? Because it's just the Achievement Hunter way. Like we have a rivalry going, like a friendly rivalry, and I used it as an opportunity to like quote tweet it and just rip on like, Mom likes us more, and like tag Funhouse in it, and it just became like this banter back and forth between us and Funhouse, and it's just like to capture like the overall company via social media, stuff like that, just kind of be sarcastic and silly.
Yeah. So then, essentially, anytime somebody gets a response from Achievement Hunter, it is you then.
Most of the time, yes. I mean, Caden has access to it, mostly like when I'm out of town to promote videos, just so I don't have to do it while I'm on vacation. And then Jeff has access to it, and he'll occasionally pop in and throw some things out there. But for the last 4 years, it's been primarily me.
And I imagine with being community manager, you probably, you get the love, obviously, for the company, but you probably get the brunt of some hatred there now and again as well.
A lot of the hatred. Well, it's like I'm the reachable one, whether it be via Achievement Hunter, like the actual Achievement Hunter avenues, or whether my personal avenues. People know that I'm the person that's going to respond. So sometimes it's just people saying, "Hey, thanks for what you doing what you do," or "I really like that video." But I would say like 60 to 70% of my messages are like, "We're upset about this one thing. Why did you say this in a video? Why did you not put this video out? Where's this thing? Why I can't do this on the website? Help me with that." So I would say it's mostly negative, but not necessarily in like a vindictive, angry way, but more just like they need help.
Well, I think in general, people are more likely to reach out with a negative comment than a positive one. Positivity stuff, people don't always think that they need to say, "Hey, you're awesome."
Yes.
But a negative thing, it's like, "Well, I'm pissed off."
That's why like you look at any comment section for no matter what the platform, and you see a lot of negativity on it because one, people are more likely to share those negative comments, and two, people respond to them and they feed the troll.
Oh yeah.
And it's like that's what you see, and then people realize too that like, oh, that person made a negative comment and they got attention for it, and so naturally that next time, even though they don't even feel that way, they'll leave a negative comment because they want that response. They want to get a response from somebody.
What's that instant gratification?
Yeah. So you have that, and then on top of it, Achievement Hunter, we're pretty negative. We're a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
Is probably the best way to put it. And it's one of those things that because we're that way, our audience also responds that way. So it's the same thing like the whole joke with me being a screen looker. That was a thing that happened over. That's a long story, but either way, got that reputation, and like it'd be one of those things at RTX. People come up like screen looker, and like it's one of those things that they're not being malicious towards me, but it's like that's the thing. Like it's to call me screen looker and have that negative response towards me, or that say something negative towards me, but it's not like people are being malicious. It's just that's how we are to each other.
It's also how they know you, you know, from the Let's Plays and stuff like that, from what you've appeared, and it's just kind of everyone has their personality. You have your base personality when you're doing a Let's Play, but then you have the turned up version that gets you put out there. The little persona you put on that pulls pieces of you, but it's how they know you.
Yeah.
So, okay, aside from the Community Imagine thing, you also do Game Kids. You're the content director of that. First, tell me about Game Kids, what the idea behind that is.
So, Game Kids is actually an idea Jeff had years ago, a little bit after Achievement Hunter started. And it was just like, we could do this with kids and people will love it. And nothing ever happened to it, like with it. And then in October last year, Bernie and Matt came up to me and were like, hey, we really want to start pushing for family-friendly content. And I've seen the videos that you and your brother make, and we think that you'd be a really good fit for running this channel. And so what the channel is essentially like Achievement Hunter or Let's Play. It's a gaming content channel with family-friendly themes. So it's like you can trust that it's safe for your family to watch.
Yeah, so no matter what, it's available to that audience.
Yeah.
So you're pulling in a different demographic because obviously Achievement Hunter itself mostly appeals to anyone with a certain sense of humor, pretty much, or maybe not that sense of humor, just feels like being offended for some reason by something.
We're good at that.
But so Game Kids allows then for, in my case, I have a 7-month-old kid, and he obviously too young now. Right now he watches.
But you might as well just hook him up now, so that way he's hooked, like it's like in his brain from.
Right now he does watch Achievement Hunter stuff on my lap, but it mostly consists of he loves Jeff's voice and is scared shitless by Michael's voice. And
understandable. Michael's an aggressive-sounding human being.
And when Ray was around, also Ray made him very uncomfortable. Which I thought was surprising. Ray's voice, you'd think, would be more soothing for a child, but that's a whole other thing. but growing up, Achievement Hunter, Rooster Teeth is going to be around for a while. Hopefully the Game Kids channel will be around for a while as well.
I hope so, too.
Then he'll have something to grow up that then you're bringing this audience to. They'll grow up now with it versus, obviously some of us grew up to an extent.
And that's part of the idea. Like, one, it's just like we feel that there's really not something out there that parents can trust. So we wanted to bring that into it's like from a business standpoint, it just makes sense to grab a younger audience because then as they grow, instead of having to stick with the same channel, they can grow into a different channel and a different type of content we have. Because, everyone grows up, everyone's interests change and what they enjoy changes. And we're essentially trying to create a platform to have people invest in our content for longer times.
Makes sense. So what kind of content is then on the Game Kids channel that people might expect?
So we're mostly Let's Plays. We have a couple different shows. Like one of them is called Sim Sisters, where we have Millie, who's 9, and she does a Let's Play with her nanny. And they just play The Sims, and they have characters in The Sims, and they follow their lives, and it's essentially like a soap opera. So very episodic. So it's kind of that style. We also have something called Kids Play, where parents of Rooster Teeth play with their kids. So we have the Holm family, the Ramsey family, and the Burns family. They all play with their kids, and they just whatever game they want to do, and it's just like a little let's play.
Well, that's also going to be great for all of them, to then actually be able to play with their kids and actually do like a go to work with your kids kind of experience.
And it's one of those things the kids love, because it's like they get to kind of do what their parents do for a living, and they get to have kind of a say in it, and it's also really fun to bond, and that's why I do it, like with my brother, because before Game Kids we already did bro gaming as a way, just when he was living in California and I was here in Texas, just to kind of stay close, as we made videos together, and it's something that we still enjoy to do, like doing today, and it keeps a really good bond with your brother. And I think what I like about it too is it shows people it's like you can play video games with your family, you can really have a good time with that and bond over it,
for sure,
which is really cool.
So you've been now with Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth for quite some time. What about in the future? Is this something you continue to see yourself either this type of work direction, or even with Rooster Teeth, or where do you see yourself going?
It really depends on Game Kids. I think that if it's something that takes off, it could potentially be similar to Achievement Hunter, where it becomes a full-time thing, where it's like that's what my time has to be. It's like I'll end up having more employees to manage and have to really dedicate my 40-hour work week to it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't grow for whatever reason and it stays as it is, it might be something where I'm still splitting time kind of 50-50, or it could be something that goes away. I mean, either way, long-term plan, it will be with Rooster Teeth, and I would like to see Game Kids grow.
Makes sense.
But, it's up to the audience.
So audience. Show your kids this. This is actually something you should show them. No, so I think that's a good thing. So Game Kids right now is kind of that focus. Now, did you actually see that being, a couple of years ago? Did you actually even foresee you wanting to run a channel like this, or?
I mean, I'll put in perspective of my insight into what I'd be doing in my future. I mean, I met Jeff playing games 8 years ago randomly. Had no idea what Rooster Teeth was, and we started gaming. And one day we were talking, playing games. We talked about this show. He's like, I want to make a show where I show people how to play video games and unlock achievements, because there's really not anything like that that out there. And I mean, at the time, we would play games all the time. It was me, him, and Andrew Panton. And Andrew and I are really good at video games. Jeff is not.
Yeah, no.
And so in my mind, I was just like, Jeff, that's a stupid idea. Like, no one's going to watch you play video games. You're terrible. Turns out that's why people like watching him play. But, 8 years ago when I met Jeff, I was never imagining I'd work in this industry at all. I mean, I was a zoology major in college when I met him.
Wow.
So, little
you
different.
are just vast. You're not even Well, then again, it is kind of, depending what kind of zoology stuff you're doing, it is kind of like watching, like the animals in their native habitat and stuff. Everyone has
the
their
native
own
habitat of the internet.
Exactly. I just meant even just in the Achievement Hunter office. You can see like the social dynamics and things like that.
Yeah, and it's been interesting too over the years. I've been around the company for 8 years, seeing the dynamics between individuals change, the dynamics between the company. It's grown so much. It's been huge. But to get back to your question, like managing a channel, I was never something I'd ever think I'd do. Even being a community manager, I didn't know. I'd heard of that position like maybe a few months before I was hired as a community manager.
Well, I think 8 years ago, even like when you were starting, that wasn't exactly a major term. Community manager, that's something that's really
new.
Only popped up in majorly in what, two years maybe?
So it's like
companies are only just realizing their community matters.
Yes, exactly. And I never envisioned that happening. And then I never thought I'd have my own channel. I had my own channel with my brother on the side for fun, but I never thought I'd be like managing a channel and having to manage my bosses.
Yeah.
That makes it interesting.
That's got to be an interesting dynamic. It's like, no, you guys need to film this. No, you work for us.
This is how I feel. It's like, hey, Matt, where's that content? Don't fire me, but where's that content? And that's like, it's like that weird pressure of having to make sure like things are getting done, because it's hard. Matt's busy. Matt's an incredibly busy person. Bernie's an incredibly busy person. Same with Jeff. And those are 3 of our families that contribute. That's who contributes. And it's like, to make them prioritize something while also remembering that they can fire me, makes for a fun day.
We gotta toe that line, essentially. Yeah. Well, thanks for chatting about all this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, if you can find Caleb, well, everyone knows where to find you on Twitter, but just in case, where can people find you for the few people who might not know?
Me personally, you can find me just on Twitter at Caleb Denecour, on the Rooster Teeth site, roosterteeth.com/Caleb. And also you can find me at Game Kids channel, which is I think our Twitter handle for Game Kids, or youtube.com/GameKids.
Awesome. Well, this is Josh Silverman, Constant Calibrating. Thanks for watching. We bid you a good sign off.